Hey guys, it's Leo from Team Ragnarok, and I'm joined by Joe for a Bermuda sneak opening. Right,
Oh, yeah.
so to get some conversation going, I'm just gonna ask why you're actually interested in Bermuda.
So beginning of the game, before I even really started, some of my friends were opening set 1 and 2 packs when they just come out, and Carpet Vanguard started in English.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the first card I ever got was I think it was double rare Top Island Flores from set 2. And so they explained this deck isn't out yet; it just kind of has 4 cards.
Yeah.
So I started by picking up every copy of it I could. I got the play set, and then played the game up until the first Bermuda set release.
Okay.
And then from there, I've played Bermuda kind of as my main deck ever since.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So even with the V series, not necessarily rotating out, but not going to be the main focus. It's still kind of one of my favorite decks.
Mm.
In particular, Prism. So I was really excited to hear that Prism was going to get support in this set.
Yeah, I remember you always playing Prism.
Yeah, it's Prism and Duo were kind of my favorite too, and then Coral, when it got the better support at the end of G, was kind of my focus. But yeah, now that Prism's in the set, I was really interested in it. So it is a bit of a shame that V isn't going to be like I said, the core focus going forward. But hopefully, if they are going to support it I think it's twice a year, they're going to be doing it, and they're going to be supporting it in official tournaments and whatnot. So it's still going to get an opportunity to play them, and of course, even with what's going on in the world at the minute, we're still getting chances to play online, which is quite nice.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's why I played Bermuda, I guess.
Was it just Prisms you were looking for after this product, or was it just Bermuda in general?
Mainly Prisms, but after I kind of read everything in the set, after I pulled everything, I was looking at the Ange and Tira.
Yeah.
So after talking to Leo, he sent me a deck list, which I've had a couple of goes with, and that seems to be really fun. I quite like the fact that Ange can search for units from the deck, which means you can play some interesting techs. So, for example, I believe a couple of sets ago, we got the V retrains of I can't remember their names now. The Highlander cards. You can only play one of each in your deck.
Yeah.
I'm really struggling to think what it's called now. Pella and Pella.
Oh yeah.
Which I think is really cool. You can, if you draw one piece, you can use the Ange to dig out the other, just for, I guess crit pressure and heavy attack. So I'm trying that deck out. There's lots of other stuff in the set, of course. I'm not too interested in the likes of the Mia. I think it's Lyrica. I think it's called.
Yeah.
I really want to try the Melody though.
Yeah, the Melody definitely seems interesting from this.
It's just it was the first obviously deck we got in V, bar just generic Bermuda from the trial deck.
Yeah.
And the new Grade 3 seems really interesting, being able to copy the melodies from Soul. The Grade 3 count in that deck is going to be absolutely insane, so the deck building is going to be really interesting for it. Yeah, that's basically what I'm looking forward to playing. There's a few different decks.
So, speaking of Bermuda support in V, what has your experience with Bermuda been throughout V series?
Bermuda in V series seems to be a bit of an issue for some players, because it's obviously Bermuda has the problem where it gets all the support once a year in one big set to itself, and so it seems to always get ridiculously strong support for the time of release, and then by the time it comes around to the next set, it's fairly underpowered, and then it gets that big boost again and it's overpowered again. So I think we saw that especially with the first set and the second set, when we had the Riviere format, and that had to obviously get nerfed.
Yeah.
And we had the Melody format that we had to have the choice restriction on. It was a bit of a problem in V. I hope it doesn't become the same issue in the Overdress format.
Yeah.
However, I think with them putting Bermudas in their own set, it may be a recurring issue. It would be nice to see Bermudas in normal sets again, but I can understand why Bermuda are in their own sets.
Yeah.
They're pretty popular, and I'm sure they sell well.
Like, there's also just a lot of stuff to like they want to get hand out for them in terms of support.
Yeah, and especially in V4, there's so much stuff they kind of want that players want Bushiro to revisit.
Like Loris.
So I know, for example, like Loris, which you never got, which was interesting because we got Loris's old support cards, but
yeah,
we'll just leave Loris out of V format, I guess. But that doesn't mean to say she can't come back later.
Yeah.
The special sets seem to tell us that anything can come back. Like how we got Chaos Breaker.
Yeah.
Even bringing back Old Lock, which is interesting. That's
quite nice.
It's going to be weird to have opponent's card locked again.
Yeah.
I think if I were to want anything back from the old stuff, maybe now it would be Loris. I think almost everything else has come back. Maybe Prism Labrador, because they seem to have not given us many actual Prism cards.
Yeah, there's only like 3 of them, and like 4 if you count the one in the clan selection coming out, right?
Yeah, so it's almost like they don't want it to become another case of throw lots of cards from your archetype into a deck.
Yeah.
So instead we have these small little engines that go in decks now. Which I don't mind too much. It was a bit frustrating when I was really looking forward to Prisms to only have like 4 of them, and that's after clan selection. But it is what it is. I'm once I get testing with it, I'm sure it'll be fine. And it's kind of cool that they made the grade 4 not really like a final boss for the Prism deck, but rather it enables the rest of the deck.
Yeah, it's quite nice.
Which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, old stuff I think is just Loris with Light now. Maybe we'll see duos come back at some point, which would be a bit odd though, because we got Mia, who has a completely new skill.
Yeah, he hands out presents.
Yeah, and she starts healing herself because the Mia's now copy every other clan's styles of playing, I guess.
Yeah.
But as you can see in the video, we managed to pull an OCR, which is a pretty cool idea for this set.
Yeah.
So they are like SP style borders, as in they lack them. They lack the text boxes, and it's based on the original artwork where the card came from. So one of the video we pulled first is we pulled Tirua. Yeah. So it has its original artwork. Or it's not the original artwork, but it's based on it.
It's the original costume.
Pretty cool idea. I think that's another problem Bermuda sometimes have. There's so many different rarities in their sets. You get special ones every time.
Yeah.
I believe it was the first Melody set where you essentially had 4 or 5 different SP versions of the same card, which was interesting.
Like, I suppose having so many different rarities is probably another selling point for them, though, right? Because like collectors will just like buy more of the product to get those rarities.
Yeah, it's like a little bit of a lottery, I guess.
Yeah.
If you pull, the really high-end version, you're laughing.
Yeah.
Some interesting things about the set. I didn't realize how good Mermaid Idol Ellie was until it was pointed out to me. I thought it was just another kind of a bulk double rare.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a lot of fun actually once I finally get around to making all these different decks and playing them. It was nice to see they reprinted the Grade 0 Pervigard in the set. Although now that we know we're getting reprints of them in the special set, I'm not sure how relevant that is. But it's never a bad thing. I know in the original Vanguard it was a bit difficult to get them at the beginning of the game. So it's quite nice that they're kind of almost overprinting them now.
Yeah, like makes it easier for people to actually get hold of.
Yeah.
So what do you think of some of the retrains in this set, from like the original series, like how was it, Reindeer?
Reindeer is interesting. So some of the retrains are similar to what they used to do. So Arnge and Tirua kind of have their effects are somewhat relevant to what they used to do in G format, and some of them are actually completely different. So, for example, the Prism cards really have nothing to do with how original Prism played.
Yeah.
So the original Prism, obviously with Labrador, used to use your main phase to return your units to hand, and then when you attack, Labrador would call them. The new Prism seems to be based around binding, which isn't something I thought Bermuda would ever do.
Yeah, it's definitely a new spin on it.
Yeah, it's different. And it works. It should work quite well for premium stuff, actually. luckily I pulled all my stuff out and brought it up with me so I can start testing that as well. The reindeer, it was interesting they made it into a Highlander card.
Yeah.
But its effect is absolutely insane, to be honest. And it actually, if there's any reason the Highlander deck is any good, I think it's probably going to be down to reindeer now, and it being able to call the grade 4s from the deck during the battle phase.
Yeah.
I guess it still kind of retains its old effect. It's something to do with when it attacks, I guess.
Yeah. What was the old one? Was it when it checked a grade 3?
Yeah, so when you revealed a grade 3, you could return one of your rear guards to your hand and call a card from hand.
Ah, yeah.
So some of the other retrains in the set, they've turned into pretty good generic cards. So
like Aqua?
You see on screen, yeah, so Aqua is just a really good card. It's similar to Lisaloff. You just get to bounce a card when it's called, you draw a card, and I believe you discard a card after?
Yeah, you discard a card after.
Yeah. And then it just gains power based on the old melody effect. I believe it's if you have a card in the same column.
Yeah.
The Sedna became the grade 3 searcher, and it has the same skill where if there's a card in the same column, it will get 5k.
It's just generic good cards that you became, right?
Yeah, just generic good card. What else in the set to talk about? Olivia got a retrain.
Yeah.
Probably not quite as good as the other grade 4s, especially for the Highlanders.
Tyria.
Tyria was pretty good. I believe you can only really use it the turn it's placed, however, so it's probably more like a second grade 3 index like Ange. Yeah. But because it's effect to restand as rear guards as well, it could be splashable.
Yeah.
Other things down the line, especially maybe in premium, when we start stacking force markers onto rear guard circles, and we can maybe keep standing that Tyria if we keep giving it crits from its own attacks. Well, sorry, from the Vanguard attacks. So that could be good. It's interesting that Bermuda got a Mega Colony rearguard stun in this set as well.
Oh yeah, the jellyfish grade 2.
But cool, I guess. It's another thing that Ange can call out from the deck.
Yeah.
You can play it as like a 1-off or a 2-off.
Definitely it's cool to see them like some variety there.
Yeah. And of course the Coral, Pacifica and Riviera decks all got supported as well. They all got a couple of cards each.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the other new cards in the set, we got Seredy, she's a new grade 3.
Yeah.
We got Lyrica, she's a new grade 3.
Seredy is basically what duos used to do, right? You just reveal copy to the card from hand?
Yeah, so when a rear guard attacks, reveal any number of cards from your hand with the same name as that unit, and it gets 10k for each card revealed. So yeah, I guess it kind of fills the old role of duo, but without the restriction of needing duo cards.
Yeah.
The Lyrica as well is interesting. It's to do with order cards. I'll be honest, I haven't read too much into that. I wasn't too interested in it.
Yeah, understandable.
But I believe it's something to do with stopping or forcing your opponent to intercept.
Yeah.
And then if they intercept, then I believe you start gaining power and whatnot.
Yeah. Right, that seems to be all we have time for today from the video. Thank you for joining me, Joe. And
no worries.
Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.